small business of the country overcome its accounting challenges and take their business to the next level. Intuit unveiled its reimagined, all-new QuickBooks, a cloud-based accounting software for small business. Empowering small business with cloud technology was a hot topic of discussion at the recently concluded conclave that brought together industry leaders on the same platform to discuss the trends and challenges involved in the adoption of cloud technology.
Dan, I'm going to open play with you. Globally, what are the kind of trends that you're witnessing amongst small businesses when it comes to adopting newer technologies? Are they diving headlong? Is there some kind of apprehension?
Well, I think there's three things to remember. The first thing is that small businesses' primary objective is to get the right outcome, is to build their business. And I think they think of technology not as a what. It's not something that they're trying to adopt, but they're trying to achieve the outcome they're chasing. And what we see is, with the burst of mobile devices, with cell phones and tablets, that there's a recognition that they need to have their data anywhere, anytime, available to them to run the businesses successfully. And I think that's what you're seeing as a big spur to the adoption of cloud technology. I think because of that, and in addition to that, accountants are seen as a way to collaborate with those small businesses to help them succeed at a rapid pace. And that combination of both a small business need to get better outcomes and accountant need to see how they can collaborate better is causing that to happen at an increasing frequency. Now, yes, there's things in the way of that. In fact, there was a survey done the last year, and I can't remember the source of it, but it was essentially, the question was, will my cloud data be affected by stormy weather? And the answer was, 51% of people said yes, their cloud data would definitely be affected. I can assure you that your cloud data does not get wet in stormy weather. But yes, there are hindrances.
You know, I'd like to focus more on India for a moment. I'd like to bring Nikhil and Mr. Karnik in. Mr. Karnik, you're really a chronicler of the times. Over the last 3-4 decades, you've been witnessing technology way before all of us have even laid our hands onto these technologies. At this current situation, can you comfortably say that our infrastructure has improved to a certain extent, which can, easily deploy cloud technologies to small businesses?
You know, what's exciting to me about cloud technology is just, in some sense, the obverse of what you asked.
Okay.
The fact that the infrastructure is not yet ideally there.
Okay.
There's a lot of it, but not ideally there.
Okay.
In fact, sets things up just right for cloud technology.
Okay.
Because the fact that you don't need to own all the technology, the reality that you can have your data not in your little space. I like what Nikhil showed here. This is a small business, a small little place with 6 people sitting. Hey, where on earth he's going to crowd in all the stuff he wants to store the data? He wants to get rid of as much as it as possible, but he needs it.
Okay.
And what better way than the cloud to be able to outsource not just many of your services, but also much of your infrastructure. Because you can now get infrastructure as a service with all your data stored somewhere else. I don't need to worry about maintaining it and fixing it and upgrading software and glitches. I don't need to worry about maintaining my data. I don't need to worry about power outages. So it's just fabulous. I think it's just made for the kind of world we live in India and made particularly for small businesses.
It's entrepreneurship 101. Focus on your core competency, pass on the headaches to somebody else. But Nikhil, we've seen the benefits, but what are the kind of barriers of adoption that you're seeing within the subcontinent?
So, we've done this study in partnership with Ministry of MSME, trying to understand, what are the cloud adoption barriers. And we found 3 emerging themes. The first one is around cost and affordability. They want to get started pretty quickly and they don't have the capital to start up. And I think that goes to us providing the awareness that actually it's plug and play in cloud versus, the desktop or the old days where you had to put in a server. The second is around lack of skilled manpower. As you know, in India today, 1 in 12 actually graduates are employable. And the SMBs actually get really the bottom of the pyramid in terms of people that get to work with them. And so hence the skills development is a big emerging area and a big challenge for them to find people who can actually use the product. And the third is around ROI benefits and what if I adopt this, but what will I get? What will it do to my business? Would it grow my business? Would it help me get me more back time and so on? So these are the 3 emerging things we found in that survey. And the way kind of we are going out addressing is really around actually connecting the dots and showing them the benefit that, hey, it doesn't take a lot of investment to actually get started. It's like a Gmail, right? You just go and you're off. It doesn't take a lot of time to scale because you can take it as you grow, as you scale. And the third is around collaboration. You can be anywhere in the world, and yet you can access cloud.
I'd like to bring Mr. Vikamsi in out here. How is the profession of accountancy changing? I mean, you've been, for the past 30 years, you've seen the growth of this skill set. With technology coming in, with cloud coming in, how is the profession changing?
Let me start with a lighter note, that it's called QuickBooks, but today there are no books. We had physical books over there, but today practically all businesses, be it small, big or whatever, are all on IT platform. So that has first of all transformed the entire way people have maintained their accounts, number one. Number two, the systems behind the entire, be it banking, be it taxation, all are going towards E. So you have e-filing of income tax returns, you have e-filing of service tax returns, and when you have a GST, practically we will have entire platform of taxation on IT based.
Right.
Which will, have to connect. So all businesses will have to connect on IT platform, and that's the reason why the entire landscape of accounting has changed from the physical maintenance of books of accounts to practically everything on the IT platform and on the entire e-platform because of the governance also.
Okay. But to deliver such a solution, you also need skilled manpower. And I'd like to bring you in on this, Mr. Shukla. What is the landscape out there, and what kind of efforts do you see that needs to be put in from the industry and from the educational institutions as well to prime a talent set that can understand the potential of cloud, develop it, do R&D, and also be proponents of the technology?
Well, I would answer that at two levels. First of all, I think the education, particularly engineering education and computing and IT, needs to have the newer technologies like cloud computing as a part of the courseware. And at a second level is professional development. All of you sitting here, it is a fast changing world, so continuing education to get more skilled behind the technological aspects of running a cloud computing business. So we really want to work at two levels. So I'll give you a couple of examples of what we've done. The first ever cloud computing book in India by an Indian author was published by McGraw-Hill Education. Why did we do that? It was not even a course, even at postgraduate level 6 years ago. Because sometimes you have to take a lead in cutting edge, newer technologies, emerging areas, and use the high quality content as a way to influence the curriculum. So that's what we are doing, that in some of the cutting edge areas, we want to be the first authentic and authoritative source and influence the curriculum. The second thing that we believe needs to be done is an overhaul of the curriculum of computing and IT engineers.
Abhijit, everything that we're discussing out here is for people like you. Yes. What prompted you to adopt cloud technologies? What was the indicator in your business cycle that told you that your business is ripe to adopt these technologies?
What prompted me to have various solutions which are cloud-based? Cost.
Okay.
Was the first issue, because being a small businessman, I'm bootstrapping, I'm putting in all my own funds, I'm borrowing from friends, I'm borrowing from family to sustain my business, and I do not want to spend money on non-essentials. So to say, for example, I don't want to spend money on hosting an email service on my own. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to spend 20,000 rupees on a licensing fee for an accounting software that I'm going to use maybe 10 times in a year. When I started working, I was working out of various devices. I was using a Mac at work, I was using a PC at home, I was using an iPad at the same point in time. I was also using a phone. I was working alone, so I was marketing alone, I was providing all the services on my own. So I used to go for a meeting, come out, I needed access to a data for the next meeting, which I did not have. So did that for a few weeks, few months, and realized that this is not going to work. So I started finding solutions to these problems, and that led me to cloud. Right. So I started using it in the initial stages only for file sharing. Then when I wanted to grow my business and I wanted to hire the right manpower, like you rightly said, that we get the bottom of the rung. We don't get the best graduates, do not want to work with startups. They don't want to work for us. It's simple. So what do you have to choose from? We choose from either the lowest level, which will not perform to our expectations, and it's a big risk for us, or we try and get talent from people who otherwise are not willing to work full time. housewives who've taken a break, a sabbatical for raising children. They're ideal for working for us. We get, they can work from home, share data, collaborate with us over the net, and be present occasionally for a meeting or two that they need to go for. So those are primary driving forces for me to get into the cloud system. When I went bigger and my business got established and accounting became a big problem, I started looking for solutions. That's when I found Intuit, QuickBooks, and I've been on the QuickBooks platform since then.
Mr. Karnik, Nikhil, Dan, I'd like you to come in on this, and it's an extension of the question I asked Abhijit really. How do you know your business is right to adopt cloud technology? Is it something I can start with day one if I want to start a business, or should I hang on for a little while? What have you been advising your clients? Nikhil?
So I think, the key is to kind of understand the client's workflow. And what we do is, we kind of, as through our Follow Me Homes and through our engagement with them, we actually help them understand, where are the gaps? Because sometimes when you look outside in, as Intuit does, we are able to pitch, actually put together the whole workflow for the customer, from starting from whether they're managing the business or managing their employees or payments or growing their business. And where are there actually leakages in terms of whether it's time being wasted or whether they're not able to get the information at that time. And I think once you do that holistic picture with them, they actually then see the benefit because they want to see translation, right? What would it do? Would it save me 40% time? And what would it do? Would it give me money back? Or would it give me more scalability? Or can I go and collaborate better with my accountant or employees? And I think that's kind of the key. What we have found is actually not just go in with the product and say, here's the solution, but rather step back and say, okay, what is your workflow? What is the nature of your business? How do you perform your workflow? And how can we come in to help? And then actually show the story around cloud.
Just a quick add-on before I come to Mr. Karnik out here. Just help me understand what is the landscape, what are the kind of businesses that are heartily adopting cloud within the subcontinent, of course, and what are the industries that are still saying, I'm going to wait it out for a little longer?
So, as you know, there is
the trends generally.
Yeah, as you know, there's a new India and there's an old India. So the new India is all around mostly services businesses, businesses who are kind of more into, they have some basic level of understanding of technology, marketing agency, IT, startups, law firms, architects, and so on. The nature of business is such that they move around quite a bit, so they are very nimble and they want to be nimble. The industries which are kind of lagging today are more on the manufacturing sector, but because the nature of the business is such that the migration from what they use today to cloud is huge, and I think that's just a lagging indicator. It will eventually catch up.
And a potential for you to grow as well. Mr. Karnik?
Yeah. Just a quick reaction to what you said. In fact, I'm finding that many of the new businesses which are being set up now, not the older ones, new ones, not only is the entrepreneur himself or herself very savvy about what is required and knows about it, but in fact the business model itself is based on the use of cloud. It's a very sort of infrastructure of what they're starting their business on. And the interesting part now, and I'm sure others will touch on this as we talk a little more, the combination of cloud and mobility.
Right.
It's a fabulous combination.
And it's a very potent one as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's a sort of overall killer in what you're going to do. And as Nikhil just said, particularly for services businesses, it's just amazing what it can do. I've seen business after business come up on this, starting with that as their very premise and then building on that to scale up with minimal additional investment. That's the other big thing about cloud.
Yeah, if that's your DNA. But coming back to what I was asking, indicators to help people understand I'm right for cloud.
I think that I would look at it the other way around. The question to ask is, why can't I use cloud? It's a new thing that's there and it's going to help my business a great deal. Are there reasons why it's inhibiting me? And if you look at it that way, you'll find that most businesses are able to use it. But there are one or two inhibitory factors, and some of them Dan did mention. There is some concern, particularly from those who are not so familiar with, about things like, is it secure?
Right.
Is there a privacy issue? It's very far away from me. And it takes a little while for people who are not as familiar with it to understand how, in fact, it's far more secure and safer.
Right.
But as I said, there's I think a generational difference there, and those, not from my generation, generations like yours, understand and know this.
I'll come to the
generations are a little wary, a little more careful. The other point, of course, and this is a genuine one, more seriously, is that businesses that have worked for a while have set patterns, they've set investments. And for them, making a change is difficult because they've got something going. The risk of making a change always worries any of us.
Right.
That is something new is going to work on. Here's something that's working, I know it's there, should I rock the boat and take a chance? So there is that hesitation, the little worry, the risk aversion to something new and different, something I'm not so familiar with.
Right.
And that's a major barrier for existing businesses.
I'd like to come to that generational thought. I'll just come back quickly, get Dan's thoughts in on this.
I'd echo a couple of points. Number one is if you're a business that's multi-site or multi-device, i.e. you want different people working from different locations on your business, cloud is a perfect solution. If you want to avoid high upfront costs, because it's a subscription-based business model, it's also a perfect kind of business because that you don't have that high cost to get going.
Right.
Those are the kinds of businesses that thrive, in a cloud environment and get immediate great ROI.
I'd like to come in on the generational thought you brought in just right now. I'd like to speak about the cultural aspect of this and within the subcontinent as well. How much is adoption of cloud more a cultural resistance to change? And how do you usually deal with these kind of challenges? Nikhil?
So, if you look at kind of the mobile phone evolution in India, right? I mean, if you look at a few years back, we never thought there'll be 900 million mobile users because it was like a novelty when it came in. And I think once, the initial adoption happens, people started seeing how it's like making your communication so fluid. It just went through such a curve none of us expected. So I think cloud's kind of going through the same journey where I think people are slowly beginning to see the benefits. I think in some geographies around the world, it's happened faster, some it's happening slower. But I think the benefits, of the value prop is spreading.
The highlight of the Intuit QuickBooks Conclave 2013 was the launch of the reimagined all-new QuickBooks. Dan Vernikoff, Senior Vice President and General Manager, Small Business Financial Solutions Group, then took the center stage and spoke about the features that set the all-new QuickBooks apart.
We really thought about how we designed this, and we created clear principles that guided everything that we did in the design process. So the first thing was make it simple, easy, and guiding. We know that most small businesses, when they start using the software, they're not confident. It's the first time they've ever started a business. And when you're doing something the first time, you need to feel confident that you're doing it right, or else you worry. So that's the first principle. The second is it needs to be fast and powerful. So if you think about those two, it's got to be simple, but it's got to be powerful. So we think of it as easy to get started, but impossible to outgrow. And that's really, those two things combined are what we're trying to solve for. Now, data to insights, we're talking about a ton of data and it's all in the cloud. The most important thing, though, is that data turns into something and it helps you make better decisions. So it's not about exposing all the accounting and the bookkeeping. It's much more about exposing those insights that are going to help you make better decisions, and the accounting just happens in the background. And then the last piece is built for mobility. So when we have all this data and then you start to take it into the field, it's not in the back office anymore, and all of a sudden it's on a tablet or it's on a mobile device, then all of a sudden you can solve all types of new jobs. You have a CRM application now in the field with all the transaction history that you've ever had with a customer. You can write proposals, you can take pictures, you can have sound, you can have notes about the customer, you can accept electronic payments directly in that device. So we don't want to just do accounting, we want to think about how we expand beyond it. And the last piece is, we really feel passionately about not following what other people do. So we wanted to make this very unique, very iconic, and something that people would recognize as coming from one company, because we plan on carrying this design across multiple platforms into multiple geographies.
The evening also witnessed Intuit QuickBooks Excellence Awards 2013 that recognized small businesses that have embraced innovation and have a high degree of customer orientation.
First award, ladies and gentlemen, to be presented tonight is the QuickBooks Innovative Business of the Year, and The award goes to Kabloom India. The second award this evening to be presented is the QuickBooks Customer Centric Business of the Year. The award goes to NRI Advisory. May I invite Mr. Junaid Patel, Senior Director, NRI Advisory, to kindly accept the award. Ladies and gentlemen, the next award to be presented is the QuickBooks Cloud Savvy Business of the Year. The award goes to FNB Agro LLP. Ladies and gentlemen, the next award to be presented is the QuickBooks Business with Social Commitment of the Year. The award, ladies and gentlemen, for QuickBooks Business with Social Commitment of the Year goes to Seva Mob Ventures. Many congratulations once again. Ladies and gentlemen, the next award to be presented is the QuickBooks Accountant of the Year. The award, ladies and gentlemen, goes to Naresh J. Patel and Company. Last award to be presented tonight is the QuickBooks Cloud Savvy Accountant of the Year. The award goes to Balakrishna Consulting LLP, who have been serving over 50 international clients in 23 countries. Huge round of applause for Mr. Pawan Sharma, partner, Balakrishna Consulting LLP. Joining us on stage.
BCL is a group of 4 young professionals, 3 chartered accountants and a company secretary. We began our journey in the year 2011, so we are relatively new, and the company was started with a goal of providing quality accounting, payroll and advisory services, focusing on small and medium enterprises and startups.
And Kabloom at heart is an innovation-driven company, using our own patented technology to seal the fresh flowers in water. We are integrating industry's top logistic partners to throughout our delivery process, and we are integrating our systems with an exceptional online accounting system from Intuit, the QuickBooks 2013.